Hello and welcome to the channel. No, I haven't gone crazy, but I wanted to bring a fresh perspective to an important topic. And for that I'm going to need buckets. This will always be known as my buckets video. The statement of financial activities is at the heart of the charity statement of recommended practice. And you need to know how it works if you can have any chance of understanding the SORP. I'm Paul Foden, the accidental expert, and I had to unpick the SORP when I was designing a new product for my business, Eden Accounting. And that's the knowledge I want to share with you. Now, let's start with cash. Where else is there to start? Charities will receive all types of income, and these need to be separated into different types. I'm going to put them into piles. One for donations, one for trading income, one for grants, and we've got 2 grants, and lastly, one for legacies and endowments. That's the big bucks. Now these piles are nominal ledger codes. In practice, there'll be several more. This income then goes into different buckets. Sorry, did I say buckets? I meant to say funds. There are 3 types. The green bucket is the unrestricted fund. This can be spent on anything that the trustees choose. So let's put some cash into that. It can come from these 2 piles. Then we have the money which is going to the restricted funds. These are the red buckets. That will generally include grants. So we have 2 of those, so 1 bucket for each. Donors put all sorts of conditions on the money they give, and charities must respect those wishes. Each different set of obligations must go into its own restricted fund. In this case, we have 2 restricted funds, so 2 red buckets, but there are often many more. Then we have a yellow bucket for the endowment gift. Endowments are invested and create income, and that's what we can spend. So we have a yellow bucket for that too. You might have been wondering why there were 2 green buckets. If the trustees decide to earmark some money for a particular project, say for a match funding grant, that will go into a designated fund. But it's still a green bucket because the trustees decide where it should go. In this case, we're match funding the first grant, so we put the same amount of money into the designated fund bucket. As you can see, all our different income types have been put into buckets. Sorry, funds. Fantastic. Step 1 complete. Now we need more buckets. These little buckets represent activities. This is what the charity does. Firstly, there are the fundraising activities. Marketeers like to organise their activities into different campaigns around events or media. Each of these will have a separate silver bucket. These fundraising activities are generally paid for out of the general funds, the green bucket. Then we have the pretty multicoloured buckets. These are the charitable activities as defined in the trustees' annual report. That's why we were given money in the first place. First, let's spend some of the general funds. This money can go into these 2 activity buckets. Then let's spend out of the restricted funds. The first restricted fund was matched by the designated fund. We're going to spend that here. The last restricted fund was going to support this blue project, but you can see it's just run out of cash. So we'll top it up with a transfer from the general funds. Thank you very much, and we can complete that activity. Also, we need to spend money on support tasks like governance, IT, admin and HR, all the necessary stuff to keep the wheels turning. That comes out of the general funds too. Now, let's say that we've reached the end of the year and we want to count up our spending. The money left in the big buckets is called the reserves, and you can see that it's still separated, and that's the way it must stay. It isn't allowed to be mixed up. The money in the little buckets has been spent on activities, and that is what is reported in the statement of financial activities. But before we do that, there is one last step. The support activities must be allocated across the charitable and the fundraising work. This can be done however the charity chooses, provided it's sensible, applied consistently from year to year, and is disclosed in the notes. We'll allocate our money according to the time spent on each activity. Measuring that very carefully, we spread that money across the charitable and fundraising activities. You can tell that I'm measuring it very accurately. Voila! And we're finished. The money in the little buckets is the statement of financial activities. That is what we were trying to create. All the income and expenditure has been properly classified. Now my product, Eden.Charities, doesn't quite use buckets, but it uses the same principles and is designed especially for charity accounting. Please go to my website, eden.co, to find out more. Also, if you want a more serious approach, there are some links to the Charity Commission below. Any questions, please raise them in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them. Thanks for listening and see you in the next one. Bye for now.